Hello, welcome to United Theological Seminary Student-Led Chapel. I am Jen Bach. I am a first-year student with a focus on spiritual direction. I was raised Catholic, but now I have become a liberal, open and affirming, flag-waving, charismatic Christian. I feel very much at home and loved at Liberty Community Church in North Minneapolis, a Presbyterian church from the African American tradition. I want to share with you a song that is very close to my heart, Strange Fire by the Indigo Girls. I learned about the Indigo Girls a couple of years before I came out as queer in college. I was in love with them and their music before I even knew why.
Good afternoon. My name is Sana del Corazon Ayushi, they pronouns. Please join me in the opening prayer. Oh, dear beloved, love divine, we welcome you in this place. Come and be with us now and with every person watching online. Harbor us from the anger, from the wrath of this world. Help us reach out for you and find your love and your goodness, which may have been hidden because of judgments of people. Help us to know and experience your divine love, O God, and help us to love ourselves, and in that love, dissolve every stone that is cast. Amen.
United Theological Seminary sits on the sacred, is held on the sacred by the Anishinaabe and Lakota peoples, and on the banks of the Mississippi, whose waters are also sacred. And we acknowledge the sacredness of the land on which we all stand. In this moment of silence, feel free to share in the chat an acknowledgement of the land where you are joining us from.
Hello, everybody. My name is Genevieve Calvillo, and I'm a Dakota woman who's attending St. Catherine's University in the Spiritual Direction program. Today, I will be offering a prayer, so please relax and close your eyes. Wakantanka, Great Spirit, together with a humble heart, we enter the abiding space of holy presence. May we come to more deeply understand how Wakan, the sacred, is embodied in all things seen and unseen. The winged, the four-legged, those with fins and those that crawl, and other beings that exist in the natural world. May we come to know our kinship with all of our brothers and sisters, and to understand the wisdom of our interconnectedness. In a world that is strife with disconnection, division, pain, and suffering, may we never lose sight of our connection to one another. May we never lose hope for peace among all things great and small. Although at times we fail to recognize the strength that endures through the power of loving one another, despite our differences, may we remember the sacred spark of life that is given to all that exists, all of our relations. Great mystery, your spirit moves through and among us, often in ways we do not understand with the mind, but that we feel in the recesses of our hearts. Let us then return to Chante, the heart. In the season of emerging light, may our minds come to know the wisdom of our heart space, allowing this wisdom to move towards the mind, enlightening it with what we need to understand in the sacredness and oneness of all things. Wopida Padamayaye.
Today's reading comes from Psalm chapter 139, verses 1 through 10 and 13 through 15. And this version comes from Psalms for Praying, an Invitation to Wholeness by Nan C. Merrill. Oh, my beloved, you have searched me and you have known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my innermost thoughts. You find me on the journey and guide my steps. You know my strengths and my weaknesses. Even before words rise up in prayer, lo, you have already heard my heart call. You encompass me with love where I go, and your strength is my shield. Such sensitivity is too wonderful for me. It is high. Boundless gratitude is my soul's response. Where could I go from your spirit? Or how could I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in darkness, you are there. If I soar on the wings of the morning or dwell in the deepest parts of the sea, even there your hand will lead me and your love will embrace me. For you formed my inward being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for you are to be reverenced and adored. Your mysteries fill me with wonder. More than I know myself, do you know me? My essence was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, intricately fashioned from the elements of the earth.
This is a sacred text by Stephen Charleston, a Native American elder, author, and retired Episcopal Bishop of Alaska. From his Facebook post, August 17th, 2020, read by my fellow student, Laurel Norton.
Even if I go as far as I can go, deep down into the watery caverns of memory, or way up to the limits of my imagination, still you are there, waiting to find me. You are everywhere at once and always, an endless presence around every cosmic corner, patient and enduring, trustworthy and infinitely good. You are now and forever now, the start and the finish, the laughter and the tears, the spirit of all creation, the loving spirit of all our dreams for as long as we have been dreaming. You were there, spirit of life, when I first breathed your air into my lungs, and you will be there when I hand that life back again. You are everywhere at once and always, my source and my goal, spirit of endless beauty, my home and my destination.
Before my sermon, I would like to talk about the picture on this slide. It is my painting of people who have been hurt by the church, depicted by the churches with a dark haze over them. Then the people come out from the hurtful churches and find the wonderful love of the divine, which is pouring out and shared among all the people, with beautiful life flowing out. This is my hope, that we can come out from our hurtful church experiences and share in the love of the divine. Today, I would like to talk about love. How important is love? I believe feeling loved is so important that it's a matter of life and death. My instructor in Intro to Spiritual and Personal Formation, Reverend Dr. Rachel Keefe, bravely shared her story in her book, The Life-Saving Church. In her book, she describes how she had not felt loved as a child, and by the time she was 15, she had attempted suicide. She describes in her book how her pastor and the people in her church surrounded her with love after her suicide attempt. Their love helped her experience God's love and saved her life. But what if the life-saving church Dr. Keefe describes has been a place of trauma, judgment, and rejection instead of love. When I was in college, I felt rejected by the Catholic Church because of my sexuality. I felt devastated. I was so afraid God would not love me because of my sexuality. I was afraid to open my heart fully to God. I was afraid God would expect me to somehow change my sexuality. I thought God was judging me, like the people in the church. But what if God, the divine, the holy we seek, is not at all like the judgmental churches many of us have experienced? Is God really there sitting on the throne, judging and condemning us? I don't believe God, the divine, the one who I believe intricately wove us together in our mother's womb and gave us this amazing miracle of life, body, and mind, would be set out to condemn us. I believe the divine is love, hope, and light. In the Christian tradition, I have found many favorite scriptures depicting God's extravagant love. Psalm 139 describes how God knows us intimately, is always with us, surrounding us with protection on every side. It describes how God uniquely formed each of us in our mother's womb with awe and reverence, even our inmost parts, which can be translated as the seat of our emotions and affections. The story of the prodigal son describes a God who runs to us and rejoices when we come back home, even when we have failed. The story of King David describes a God who empowers us to do great things, even when people do not see the potential in us, and even if we are not perfect. Jesus' love for the man dying next to him on the cross describe a God who loves us and forgives us despite our imperfections and even our crimes. The stories of Jesus as the Good Shepherd describe a God who goes out of their way and drops everything to rescue us when we are in trouble. The story of the woman at the well describes a God who loves and values women and those who are looked down upon and outcast from society, empowering them to bring love and light into the world. These Bible scriptures describe a God of love. But because of my sexuality and other negative beliefs I came with, I used to think that these stories of love were for everyone else but me. Because of a few clobber passages in the Bible that people used to condemn homosexuality, I threw out the entire message of God's love for me. It was like I threw out all potential spouses just because of one bad breakup. I have done a lot of desperate seeking to find out if God really does love me as I am. I have talked to my pastors, read books, attended conferences, and went to Bible school. I have re-examined the Bible by looking at the original language and context. I have learned that the word homosexual was not even in the Bible until 1946. And the clobber passages that were used against homosexuality were generally describing cultural sexual worship practices taking place at the time of the Bible. They were not describing sexual orientation or loving homosexual relationships. And now I believe that as a homosexual, I am what Jesus called a natural-born eunuch who is beloved by God, as described by my Bible school instructor, Sandra Turnbull, in her book, God's Gay Agenda, in which she references historical texts and scriptures, including Jesus's words in Matthew 19:11-12. Going beyond logical thinking and Bible interpretation, I think of my own experiences with the divine, which have been very powerful and have helped me experience God's love personally for myself. I think of how, as I sought the divine, my life has literally been redeemed from the pit over the last few years, physically, financially, and emotionally. A few years ago, I was seriously ill with body inflammation, and doctors couldn't help me. But my pastor prayed for me. He grabbed me and prayed out loud in the name of Jesus, right in the middle of church. I didn't get healed right away like the stories of the miracles in the Bible. But ever since that prayer, I have experienced a gradual, amazing healing process. People have flooded into my life to teach me how to heal emotionally, spiritually, physically, which were all interconnected. I have found healing through homeopathics, nutrition, affirming ministries, professional therapy, and now seminary. I have learned to love myself, value myself, and have compassion for myself. I have learned to grow into my unique self and pursue my dreams. I have learned new ways to seek the divine, walking through nature or through art and journaling. As I pray, I find that if I keep my eyes and ears open, there are answers to my prayers repeating from everywhere around me. There are repeated messages in conversations, dreams, songs, school assignments, and even on my tea bags, just to name a few. This synchronicity of messages answers my questions, guides me, helps me heal, and prepares me for things ahead. I have discovered also that as I seek the divine, there is a deep knowing inside of me and wisdom speaking in my heart. Even though I have had all of these powerful experiences of God's love, the scars of that old religious rejection still remain. Sometimes I still have a hard time believing that this extravagant, miraculous love of the divine could really be for me. I don't think I'm alone. I think a lot of people have felt hurt by the church and have felt rejected by God. I have some questions for us to ponder. I will pause and leave time for reflection after each question. After experiencing religious trauma, how can we feel safe enough to put our hearts out there again to seek a relationship with the divine? How can we open ourselves up to the idea that God, the divine, the holy, loves and cares for us extravagantly, just the way we are? How can we renew our sense of childlike wonder and dare to hope? How can we step into the world with confidence that we each carry this powerful, life-giving, life-saving, divine love in wonderful, diverse ways to shine a light in the darkness and impact our communities and world? One of the ways that we can open ourselves up to the divine is to physically express our openness with our bodies. I would like to invite you to open yourselves up to the divine with your body in any way that you feel called. You can open your hands, raise your arms, kneel down, or hold yourself in a body hug. You can wave a flag or a dish towel, dance, drum, or jump, whatever you feel called to do as I play some music. And now, let us go in peace, open to receive, experience, and exude the extravagant love of the divine. Before you go, I invite you to listen to a song I wrote called Love Song from the Divine. It is what I believe God is singing to each one of us. Thank you.
You are precious, you are loved, more than diamonds, more than pearls. You may think all hope is gone, but look at where you started from. I formed you in your mother's womb. Even who you're attracted to. You are wonderful, you are cool. What a great design I used. You bring great gifts by being you. The world really needs you to be you. You've been hurt, you've been shamed. I'm very sorry for your pain. But you are strong, you are brave. Come on now, come out of the cave. I am patient, I am kind. I'm with you high, with you low. I'm with you everywhere you go. I am speaking all the time. Stop and listen, you will find. I speak through people, things, and songs. I'm speaking right into your heart. Far beyond the farthest sea, my hands are reaching out to thee. I'd climb the mountains, search the sea, to bring you safely home to me. Just call my name and there I'll be, right here waiting for thee. You are precious, you are loved, more than diamonds, more than pearls. You are precious, you are loved. You're my beloved child. I love